MAGA's been throwing a lot of gay accusations. We can call them gay accusations. And I have none other than my gay husband here, Don Lemon, here for us to gossip a little bit about this and unpack it, because sometimes we need a respite from the nonstop crime of this administration. So welcome, Don.
Hello, Jen Welch. You've had it and you're mad and you've got news for a lot of stuff, right?
That's right.
Did you see that Milo Yiannopoulos interview?
Yes, that's what I want to talk about.
He's throwing around all these accusations, even saying that he thought Charlie Kirk was gay. I'd never heard that.
Yeah. Did you ever get a gaydar ping from Charlie Kirk?
No, because I never really paid that much attention to Charlie Kirk. It was just not really in my, in my wheelhouse and just not in my vision or whatever it is that I was interested in. But I had heard the rumors about Benny Johnson, and a lot of folks had about Benny Johnson. And look, I don't know. I can't substantiate any of it, but the rumors have been around for a while, and I know people who have stories about him. And then, Milo Yiannopoulos is an openly gay man, and he said, I've never been sued once, and he believes what he's saying is true. And who else did he say? He said Benny Johnson. He said Charlie Kirk. Oh, and he said, what's his name? Alex Jones, of all people. Like, what? Jen, what?
I have often thought, you and I have talked about this. I felt like in some facets of MAGA, there is what I call a DL demon queen problem, where you have these DL men, and, we know what happens when there's a Republican gathering at the RNC or Charlie Kirk's funeral, for that matter. Grinder crashes. And so this doesn't surprise me much. Laura Loomer's jumped in on it. Kylie put this up. This is where Milo responds to the accusations. And basically he calls out Benny Johnson's wife, and then he starts accusing them of, he says in the middle of this, if you're raw about people saying you're a swinger, don't be a swinger, girl. Strange how rumors just take on a life of their own, especially given how notoriously prudish nurses are. And he goes into all of this about Charlie Kirk. This is some tea. And then he ends it with, yours in Christ or kisses, T. I guess that depends on what day of the week it is. Your friend, Milo. That is just unbelievable. And let's remember, is Benny Johnson one of the guys that was on the Russian payroll?
I think Benny Johnson was one. I know the guy show that he was on. I believe Benny Johnson was. Tim Pool was definitely one of those guys. And so it was Milo Yiannopoulos and George Santos on Tim Pool's show when all of this came out, and George Santos being like the voice of reason or trying to calm things down. It's like, wait, what? You just got out of jail, because the president let you out. But I liked it. If you put that back up, the part that I like the part that you pointed out, but I also like the part which I thought was very important, because he's saying, you really want to take me to court for defamation and libel? Do you really want to open that up and open up the discovery process? And he says, and do you want to lose a defamation case? And then in capital letters, to Milo Yiannopoulos of all people, about whether or not you are gay, which I have to say that I agree with him. Jen, the bar for defamation and libel, especially for public figures, it's so high in this country. The bar is so high, it's tough to prove. I'm not saying that it's not provable, but does he really want to go to court proving that he is not gay or whatever it is that he's trying to prove? And then are you going to open up your personal life with your wife, as he said, with, maybe if you don't want to be a swinger, maybe you shouldn't be a swinger. Do you want to? But look, it's really juicy. And I think after a while, all this stuff, what happens in the darkness comes to light. And if these folks were just allowed to be themselves, if Benny Johnson was openly, who knows what he is, openly bisexual or with his wife, and they were swingers and it's consenting adults, I really don't care. But if you're out there preaching, don't be gay, gay is wrong, all these things, then yeah, I think you should be outed. I really do. I don't care who you are. And if you are proposing legislation and laws that are detrimental to members of the LGBTQ community, and you're sneaking, in the darkness, and what you say, eating whatever, then I think that you deserve whatever you get.
Yeah, we're looking at you, Lady Graham, with your ladybugs.
If you're out and gay, I don't care what you do in your bedroom. I don't care what you do with another adult.
I don't either. And if somebody
sexually at all,
and if somebody's passively in the closet, and I know in Oklahoma, I know a lot of friends that conservative religious family, and they had a job, and on the weekends they were more around their gay friends, but they were passively in the closet. These people, the Lindsey Grahams, the Benny Johnsons, the, in my opinion, like Josh Hawley's, JD Vance's, I get gaydar pings from all. They are actively using homophobia to weaponize and to demean gay people and to erode civil rights. This year, Don, there have been 600 anti-LGBTQ plus pieces of legislation in this year alone. 600.
Yeah.
600.
Yeah.
So this is very, very serious stuff. I mean, it's some fun tea, but they speak here about Charlie Kirk. And I mean, I don't know if he was gay or not, but I do know that, and I don't think he was, but his wife has been making the rounds. And I want to be clear that Charlie Kirk should be alive.
Right.
He should not be dead. And I haven't heard one person, Don, that loves him or that is in his inner circle or that claims to be his best friends ever talk about what the real culprit is in killing Charlie Kirk, which is gun violence. I mean, anybody else that gets shot, you have the family members going around talking about we have to do something about gun violence. That is all completely, it's crickets from this whole group of people. And here we have Erika Kirk, and I wanted to get your take on this. Here she's been on a big media blitz telling women that they need to stay at home and they need to value marriage. Meanwhile, while she's working full time. And then she was with Barry Weiss recently of CBS News. And here's a segment of the interview.
One of the most alarming things about Charlie's murder was the way that some people in this country reacted to it.
Yeah.
And not just online. This was an idea that you encountered a lot. And the idea was this. They kind of justified it. They basically said that because Charlie said or believed things that they believed were controversial or even hateful, that he somehow had it coming. What do you say to people who justified his death?
You're sick. He's a human being. You think he deserved that? Tell that to my 3-year-old daughter. Excuse me. You want to watch in high res the video of my husband being murdered and laugh and say he deserves it? There's something very sick in your soul, and I pray that God saves you. I pray, because that is what is so wrong. The internet in this world has dehumanized us.
Yeah.
So, Dawn, Barry Weiss, the premise of her question is that people that I guess justified his death.
I don't know anyone who justified his death.
The person that I heard that justified his death was him. He's the one that said on tape that if school kids die, but it means he gets to have a Second Amendment, then that's what it's going to be. He's the one that justified it. And I believe at the time of shooting, he was talking about gun violence at the time. That's wild to me, number one. And then for her, I want to get your opinion on this as a Black man, for her to say that people are dehumanizing Charlie Kirk. I remember him dehumanizing a Black pilot. He wouldn't want to fly on a plane if a pilot was Black, which is, turning point. Everywhere he went, it was the dehumanization of Black people. So I want to get your take on both of those things.
Well, I just got off of a plane, and never did I once even think about what color the pilot is, and I don't care what color they are. I don't care what ethnicity. I don't care what gender they are, as long as they have the skills to fly the plane. So I don't look at it that way. And I think it's ridiculous. He also said that Black women didn't have enough brain processing power. I don't know if you remember that. So a couple of things. Number one, as I was saying, I don't know anyone that justified Charlie Kirk's death that said, oh yeah, I'm so glad that he died and he deserved to die. I don't know anyone who said that. Now, the internet can be cruel. I will agree with her on that. And you know that. Folks in the comments can be cruel. However, I believe the crux of her question, or the framing of her question, was wrong, because no one did. And those are separate things. There's nuance there. To say that he got shot in doing something or in a manner that he had justified before, I think that's a fair way of framing it. But I don't know anyone. Everyone I know prefaces it the same way that you do. He should still be alive. The man should not be dead. However, it is true that he promoted guns. He did not want sensible gun legislation. And he said that you have to have a certain number of casualties, so to speak, in order to have a Second Amendment. He did say that. And he happened to die that way. That's fact. Now, she's a grieving widow. She's a grieving wife. I understand that. And I feel sorry for her. But there's a lot of, if I could be honest, a lot of crying that seems kind of acty to me. But look, as someone who's been in grief before, you don't know how someone's going to react. But if people of color and members of the LGBTQ plus community feel a certain kind of way about Charlie Kirk, I understand it because he was not kind to us. As someone who happens to be members of both of those, LGBTQ and a Black person, he wasn't kind. His thoughts weren't kind. His words weren't kind. I'm not happy that he died at all. But I also did not like what he stood for when he was alive. And I think it's okay to say that.
Yeah, I think, obviously seeing somebody violently killed like that's so disturbing. I mean, I just remember the first time I saw it, I thought that's got to be AI. That can't be real. Your brain goes into denial.
I didn't watch
And
it
then
yet. I couldn't watch it.
it popped up on our, yeah, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But then this, I think it's interesting that, when people die that are public speakers, thought leaders, typically montage videos of them are played, of them speaking. Like if you think about all the times at CNN when you would say, Senator such and such has died, and now we're, you did it countless times, and you let that person kind of tell their own obituary, if you will, and it shows their life work. I haven't seen any of that from Charlie Kirk's coverage.
If you want to make someone into, what they're saying he's a civil rights icon or anything like that, in order to erect a statue or some memorial for Charlie Kirk, you'd have to have a quote to put on it. And so and my friend D.L. Hughley says this all the time. What is the quote that you would put on a Charlie Kirk memorial or statue that, and when I get on a plane, if I see a Black pilot, I'm scared, or that Black women don't have brain processing power, or that gay people should not be married, or what would you put on a plaque? And so if you're going to, amplify someone and put them up and promote them and platform them as some sort of, civil rights icon or world peace leader, then come up with something good that they did besides promote an ideology that was not kind to a whole lot of people in this country.
Okay, last thought here. Erika Kirk is in line with a lot of women, conservative women right now, who are out doing media blitzes or podcasts, and they are weaponizing their gender to preach to women that women should value marriage and children and all of these things.
Is this a trad wife thing?
It's all the trad wife shit. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so I just think it's really rich that these women who have full-time jobs are lecturing other women about what they need to do with their lives. And number one, I remember, and you and I are both old enough to remember, when the Republican Party was the party of personal accountability and kind of mind your own business. Like, we don't want a big government. This push, this rise in sexism and misogyny is just getting so pronounced with the rise of racism, with the rise of homophobia. But the use of this fascist regime, in my opinion, it's a fascist regime, to use women to weaponize their gender, to kind of gender wash this thought that women need to go backwards, is really alarming. And trotting out Erika Kirk, and this is like in the last few days, and again, grief, whatever, she's done like a huge media blitz in the last 4 or 5 days.
That was my point earlier. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of like crying and what feels to me that is performative. That's my feeling. That's my opinion. It feels, and Jen, as you know, you were with me over the last couple of months when my sister passed in May, and everybody reacts differently, but I did not, I did my job because she wanted me. She loved me. She said, every day, I'm so glad that you're on TikTok. I'm obsessed. And so that was kind of an honor, a tribute to her. And I understand that she wants to do that. But I don't know if I was not a person who had been, trained in media, if I could be in front of cameras. I needed time to grieve. I took 2 weeks off. You filled in for me. I needed some time to grieve. And I don't see her having done that. But listen, I'm not being critical. I'm just being analytical. And I have not seen that. And people are wondering, and they're right to. I believe they have every right to do so.